A pot, a pan, a strainer. Her food fits in any container.
Hello, I am Catherine Wade and I will be teaching you how to make enchiladas today. To start off with, we have to make the sauce for the enchiladas. I suggest to preheat the stove and then once it is warm to add some tomatallo. I suggest the whole can depending on how many you are making.
Is that a McDonald's product?
No, it is a organic tomato product. You squeeze it all out to get all the juice.
Boo!
Make sure no other ingredients fit in that are not needed into the recipe. And then we have to add 1.5 cups of water. I suggest using actual measurements, which you can buy in different stores. Finally, the enchilada mix, which will add the nice, exquisite taste when you swallow it down your throat.
So like KFC?
No, this is quite different. This is Mexican food. Very good for you.
My mommy says when I eat Mexican food, I tend to fart.
Well, your mommy must be wrong because there are no beans in this enchilada delicious recipe. We should mix it around a bit to make sure that everything is spread around equally. I suggest to stir it around for 5 minutes and then let it sit and just let it sit for a while so that it becomes very thick.
I am stirring. Stir. Stir. Stir.
So as you can see, the sauce is starting to be a bit bubbly. That's not a problem. It's actually supposed to be like this, and you should let it keep bubbling for a while until the top really starts to bubble a lot. In the meantime, we can preheat another pan and place 1 kilo of meat. Of course, depending on the amount of people you're serving for, and for me, it's a lot.
Can I touch it?
No, you must have really clean hands, so I suggest you use soap and Germex before you start.
Whoa. Double meat all the way.
Never use the same utensils as you are using with other ingredients. So for the meat, I will be using a plastic spatula to separate it and let it cook. It is best to let the meat cook until it's brown. Well, that's actually how you're supposed to cook it. Make sure no pieces are left red.
I'm cooking meat.
By the time the meat is mostly brown, although there may be a little bit of red, the sauce will already be done, and you can now pour the sauce into the meat so that the meat gets flavored.
What if we get burned?
I suggest that if you are under the age of 10, you get an adult to help you so that you can avoid any risks of burning yourself or any other injuries possible in a kitchen.
But if you do get burned, which can happen, should we take a boo-boo buddy?
If by boo-boo buddy you mean an ice pack, yes. The best way to cure a burn is by using ice and keeping it there for a while. So now that we have the sauce and the meat mixed up, we should keep mixing it around. Although you may see that some of the meat is still red, there is no need to worry that it will cook while you are stirring with this. As you noticed, where the sauce was, I have turned the stove off so that nothing will burn, and I have moved the pan to another burner, which is not warm. It's probably off.
Boo-boo buddy, thank you. You saved me again. Boo, boo, I'm stirring meat and sauce.
After having the meat and the sauce on a high, I turned it down to about 5 or 4 so that it doesn't start to boil and really make a mess. Now that you can see that none of the meat is red, you can see that it's all brown and the sauce has a nice color.
But isn't it in red sauce?
Well, that doesn't have to do with anything. So now I can turn the stove off completely and move my spatula away. Now to have less space, to have more space and more space to work on and to cook, I suggest that we use a glass bowl to put the meat in. Not to plastic, because the meat is very hot as well as the sauce and it could cause the plastic to melt.
I'll take that. Meanie.
So now we will pour the meat into the glass bowl, slowly making sure not to spill anything, as I have not succeeded. As you can see, it fit perfectly, and with the leftovers, well, just pick them up and put them in there because we don't want to waste anything now, do we? So make sure to clean up your messes, always, just so that your
We bring you ice pack in peace.
And then I told him that I was in love with him, but he was like, no, and I was like, how could you say no to someone who just told you I love him?
I'm sorry.
Right. Hi again. Hi, Catherine. Oh, I just said that. Okay. Now we're going to be warming up the wraps. The best ones to buy are the tortilla grandissima.
I'm the little tortilla boy.
Because they are the best quality and they have a lot in a packet. So this is a leftover packet that I have from a couple days ago, and they don't have an expiry date, so they're fine. So what I did is I'll turn the stove on. You can use a small pan, nothing too big, so that's something you would use to make palatschinke, or pancakes for those who don't know what those are. And make sure you turn on the right stove, like I did. So, and then all I do is I'll place the wrap inside, and I'll let it just warm up for about 5-10 seconds, and that's what I'll do for the next 3 and for the rest of this pack. Thank you. Now that I have finished warming up all the wraps, and the meat is prepared, and I have a small ladle, I have grated about a cup of cheese to sprinkle on top of the enchiladas as a topping. I will now put the meat in the enchiladas and then into the pan and then finally into the oven. So you want to take about a relatively large amount since we have a lot of sauce. So we'll take 1 spoon to start off with, and you can see that maybe we should add a little more. So about maybe 2, 3, 2.5. So yeah, about 3 spoons. You have to be very careful when folding this because you don't want anything to fall out, as is happening now. When you're placing the enchilada into the pan, make sure that the side where it is folded is facing down so that they don't unwrap while they're in the pan. Now, all of these are probably not going to fit into this pan, so I would probably have to use a second pan, which is not a problem. Just cook them after one another and it's fine. The cooking time should take about 15 minutes, and the temperature should be 176 degrees Celsius. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.